suggest that you take a moment and subscribe to my backup channel as well, Anna Speaks Out, that will be linked in the website in the description. I'm going to put all the same videos there that I put here, just in case anything were to happen to this channel. That's where everything will continue. So the definition of technocracy is a government or social system controlled by technicians, especially scientists and technical experts. Technocracy is a form of government in which the decision maker or makers are selected on the basis of their expertise in a given area of responsibility, particularly with regard to scientific or technical knowledge. Keeping that in mind, Elon Musk tweeted a few days ago, "I made an offer." That offer was regarding the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, and it was a proposition to purchase 800,641,166 shares of common stock outstanding as of February 10th, 2022, which is all of the outstanding common stock, and Elon is offering $54.20 per share. This represents a 54% premium over the closing price of the common stock on January 28th, 2022, and a 38% premium over the closing price as of April 1st, 2022. So, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me, but according to Newsmax Finance, Twitter is actually trying to block the sale. Twitter has dropped a major roadblock in front of Elon Musk's effort to take over the company, leaving investors to wonder about the Tesla CEO's next move. The social media company has adopted a poison pill defense that makes it difficult for Musk or any other investor to buy Twitter without the board of directors' approval. Musk currently owns about 9% of the company. Twitter's next likely move is to formally reject Musk's offer, although it could also enter into negotiations. And here is what, according to Newsmax Finance, Twitter's poison pill is supposed to do. The ingredients of each poison pill vary, but they're all designed to give corporate boards an option to flood the market with so much newly created stock that a takeover becomes prohibitively expensive. Twitter didn't disclose the details of its poison pill Friday, but said it would provide more information in a forthcoming filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which the company delayed because public markets were closed Friday. The San Francisco company's plan will be triggered if a shareholder accumulates a stake of 15% or more. Elon currently owns about 9% of Twitter, and he has said that if they don't accept his offer, he will have to reconsider his position as a shareholder, so they could stand to lose a significant amount of money if they don't accept his offer. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey had some things to say about it as well.
Well, the former CEO of Twitter has publicly criticized the company's board as it evaluates a takeover bid from billionaire Elon Musk. On Sunday, Jack Dorsey responded to a Twitter user describing the, quote, plots and coups that played out in the early history of Twitter's board by saying, quote, it has consistently been the dysfunction of the company. Dorsey is still a member of the board but plans to leave once his term expires in May. Musk tweeted Saturday the Twitter board, quote, collectively owns almost no shares, with Dorsey departing. He also said the board's economic interests do not align with those of shareholders.
And speaking of the shareholders, Elon tweeted 4 days ago, taking Twitter private at $54.20 per share should be up to the shareholders, not the board. And 83% of people polled agreed with that. As would I. I'm not sure if they take a vote on it or what, but that would seem like a good idea to me. But here's what a couple of financial experts who were recently on CNBC had
wide range of opinion about what's going on.
Right. Now, best and final means no negotiation. Well, Brett Taylor represents the shareholders. He can't do that. You can't just say, hey, you know what? We'll take it. You can't. That's not fair to the shareholders. And I think we keep in all the coverage this morning. I've not heard about the shareholders needing protection from Elon. He can't steal the company. Even if he thinks he has a better idea, that doesn't get him to be able to take the company. So I've left out I'd like to ask David, because I think this is really important. David, there's a fiduciary duty to the board. And they cannot abdicate just because they got a best and final deal. This is not a piece of real. He's not buying a house here.
Jim, I think you're right on the key question that's come up any number of times already in the calls that I've had this morning. Best and final. The use of that term, which we rarely, if ever, see. Certainly in an unsolicited bid of this nature and the initial unsolicited bid. You use this term in the UK and you're stuck with it. That's it. Here, of course, given it's Musk in particular, there is a level of unpredictability that we all know is quite high. But nonetheless, the use of that term best and final, and to your point, this board, which, by the way, I can tell you is going to be having an initial meeting at 10 a.m. this morning, from what I understand, is going to have to consider what that means. Is it Buffett-esque, Jim, in a sense? Because remember, when Warren typically approaches a management, he often has that as an unsaid condition. Hey, this is it. Take it or leave it. But the take it or leave it best and final part of this is a key. And I do agree with you in that I don't quite understand what the board is left to do here, because typically they're not going to say, OK, thank you so much for paying this price. It's over and done with. Of course not. No board would do that. You might begin an auction. You might consider if there are any other strategic alternatives. But on the other side, you might just say, no, thank you. And then the question is what Musk really does. The alternative, though, could mean, Jim, and I'll leave this to you, that the stock goes down an awful lot, particularly if he sells it.
So those were their thoughts on that. But going back to the idea of technocracy that we mentioned at the beginning, according to the Washington Post from April 18th, Elon Musk wants a free speech utopia. Technologists clap back. Elon Musk's vision for Twitter is a public town square where there are few restrictions on what people can or can't say on the internet. Kind of sounds like the First Amendment. But the utopian ideal envisioned by the Tesla CEO ceased to exist long ago, according to whose authority, I would ask, and doesn't take into account what's happening in the real world. Tech executives, Twitter employees, and Silicon Valley insiders say. As Musk seeks a $43 billion hostile takeover bid for Twitter, critics say his ambition for what the platform should be, a largely unpoliced space rid of censorship, is naive and would hurt the company's growth prospects and render the platform unsafe. So yeah, it kind of sounds like the technocrats want to stay in as much control as they can. And at the end of the day, it's just telling to me that the platform that kicked the former president of the United States off of it because they didn't care for some of his opinions, but allowed some people connected with the Taliban, apparently, to be on there. It's telling that they are resistant to someone who wants it to be a free speech platform taking over most of the rights. Thank you again so much for being here today. Since you liked the video enough to make it all the way to the end, don't forget to click the thumbs up and share with somebody else who would also find it interesting. Leave your comments below and we'll all have a conversation. And if you really enjoyed it, check out the description for several different ways that you can support and get some cool stuff for yourself. Have a wonderful night, afternoon, morning, evening, whatever time zone you are in. And I will see you next time. Bye.